What is up, my people? How are we doing today? Today, I want to talk about the martial arts and the meditation aspect of it, or the spiritual side of the martial arts. And this is a topic that's going to be kind of difficult because there's a lot of um, the there's a lot of weird things out there, and there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, it's all bullshit" or whatever. And some people say, "Oh no, it's not bullshit. It's actually good for you to meditate." You know, um, because meditation is part of the martial arts. It's ingrained into a lot of the martial arts. Now, I don't know if it is that much in boxing. In boxing, as far as I know, the only thing, the only way it's promoted is through shadow boxing. Um, and that's how most people get into the zone, which is similar to entering into a trance state with meditation, which is really just self hypnosis. Some people do suggestive um, speaking and certain mantras and stuff like that that help them become better at fighting. Um, and really, all that is just self hypnosis. You put yourself in a sleeping state, and your subconscious kind of grasps the situation, or whatever it is you're telling it, and then when you come out of that state, um, you're better at certain things, right? And it's always better, in my opinion, it's always better to do that um, under training, and with someone that knows how to do it, someone that you trust. And a lot of people don't believe in this kind of stuff, but it's real. Hypnosis is real. Meditation is real. You can enter into a zone even when you're training, when you're shadow boxing, when you're jogging. So even accidentally, it can happen, right? We're very open for subjection. I think that's what you call it, suggestion or something like that. When we're um, asleep in a sense, or part of us is asleep. Like one time my cousin told me about my other cousin, which is her brother. May he rest in peace. That he's no longer with us, but that he used to talk to himself in the middle of the night, right? And her sister found out that if she can talk to him or ask him questions while he's in the states of sleeping slash talking, that he could actually get some information out of his brother. And he would do that all the time. Like when he heard him talking to himself in his sleep, she would run over and start asking him questions, and my cousin would would answer those questions. And then later on that day, she would say, "Oh, so you're going out with so and so?" And he would be like, "How did you know?" Well, he was asking questions while he was sleeping, which is a violation, by the way. That's you literally going into somebody else's brain and asking them questions while they're asleep. Um, so I'm just saying, like these kind of things, even though they sound weird and they sound from a fictional realm, they're real. Okay, but what I am gonna say is the following. This is something you're not gonna hear a lot and anywhere. I don't think you've heard it anywhere, but it's true. There's dangers to meditation. Okay, and especially when it comes to the martial arts, this is why a lot of the old timers wouldn't teach these things to a lot of people, because it's not for everybody. You know, if you have ADHD, maybe it's good for you to meditate so you can concentrate. But sometimes it's bad for you, because there's just certain meditation, in itself, it's almost like a door to another realm with that is within this world. I know it's gonna sound kind of magical. You're gonna be like, man, what kind of bullshit is this? But just bear with me for a little bit. I believe in it. I believe that it's true, but for the same reason, I believe that it's dangerous. There's been a lot of cases, scientific cases, of people that meditate and they don't have a good time with it. Not everything is positive when it comes to meditation. Like, there is people that, for example, one of the tricks that I do with meditation is I meditate and I listen to the noises around me, right? And as I listen to the noises around me, I kind of blend them into one big noise, right? And that's all it is in my brain. And the reason I do that is because I do have somewhat sensitive um, senses, my ears and my eyes and stuff like that. And sometimes I can't really um, cope with it too well. So what I do is try to combine it into one big noise in my brain, and that allows me to cope with it a lot better. And not necessarily look at everything, every little sound, and then turn and look at it, and oh my God, what was that? That's not good. So what I do is use meditation to help me with that particular problem. But the thing is, what happens if you do some kind of meditation that spikes up your senses? But your mentality, your type of mentality, maybe you have ADHD, that's not going to be good for you if you do that. But what if somebody just tells you to do that? Like, you go to a seminar or whatever, and they tell you, we're going to work on listening to all the noises, but you already have psychological problems that particular type of meditation is going to worsen that stuff for you. Be it HDHD, be it schizophrenia. Because if you have schizophrenia, you're already dealing with a lot of things that a lot of psychological problems that this kind of stuff is only going to worsen. So this is what I'm saying. Like, meditation is almost like you're exercising a certain part of your brain. And like every other exercise in the world, you have to be careful with it. You can't just go in all out on meditation. I'm personally against retreats, and against things that bring you out of the real world. I use meditation for the opposite. I use meditation to allow me to concentrate where I am. Why? Like, for like a lot of one of the mistakes a lot of people do in these meditation rituals and stuff is they go out, to these um, like meditation events or seminars, and they go um, to the woods or whatever, and a lot of people get together and they hold their hands or whatever, or they meditate and they do these. And the thing about that, and some people do it by themselves, meaning they go out to the woods or whatever, and they start to meditate in that way. The reason I don't like doing that is because you're almost calibrating your mind, your brain, and you're calibrating your brain to a certain capacity, and then where you're gonna go back to? You're gonna go back to the city because you're a modern human. Now I personally do not live in the city, but um, I live like in a very woodland type area, um, and the noises to some people that are from the city, the noises from the woods aren't good for them. They start hearing the cicadas, and they start hearing the crickets and the owls and the hawk. Sometimes a hawk passes by. All of these noises to people that aren't from here, they're not gonna, they're not gonna be very pleasant. I've been asked before, can you sleep at night? Because all of the sounds in the woods. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's fine. I would actually be worried if I didn't hear anything, because that's that's when you know something's going on. But what I'm trying to say is you're calibrating yourself when you do these retreats with these people that think you have to do retreats, and really all they're doing is they're money grabbing. They're taking your money and they're taking you to these places and making you do these certain meditations that you don't know if they're gonna be good for you in particular. You know what I mean? And I think more of these people that are telling people to meditate and stuff like that should understand that um, they should be more responsible with what they're doing. This is like an exercise. This is like a different type of exercise, and you're exercising a part of your brain that is very sensitive and very tender. And not only that, we're not as advanced as we used to be in it. A lot of the people from the ancient past, you know, none of them were saying that meditation was all good. None of them were saying, "Oh, meditation is the key to success," or meditation is good for you 100%. None of them were saying that. Not even the Bodhisattva, not even, none of them, the Taoist, none of them were saying that. And they would never say that because that's not the mentality of a Taoist is not to tell you this is good and this is bad. Even their symbol, the famous yin yang symbol is that there's good in bad and there's bad things in the good. And they somehow work together to create everything we see, which means not everything is all good and not everything is all bad. So just with that type of mentality, you should understand and you should look at meditation in that same manner. The way I see it, it's a tool, and it's a tool that should be used with caution. It's a tool that should be used with training and should not be overdone as well. You know what I'm saying? So you need to um, tread lightly. Now think about the things that they're telling you that they're going to meditate for. If they're meditating to clear your mind and to empty your mind, think about that. Be like, okay, do I need that right now? First of all, from my point of view, from my philosophy, it's impossible to empty your mind. Okay, because thoughts they come and go. So, in my personal opinion, emptying your mind is impossible. For me, when I meditate, and it took me a long time to realize this. Okay, so it's not like I was born an expert in meditation and I'm, Dowsem or whatever. Shout out Dowsem. He's a funny dude. But what I'm trying to say is like, um, I found out a long time ago that meditation really is kind of like it's it wakes you up to the realities of not being able to do certain things and just letting things go. Okay, and letting things flow. Now, of course, I've used meditation for other reasons to become faster, and I actually did this early on, and this was a mistake that got me in trouble because I flipped the switch in my brain that allowed me to go from 0 to 100, quick. And that's really how I became fast by meditating. We're using meditation and using light objects to punch through, right? And it's almost like I hypnotize myself to becoming faster, to becoming quicker, to be able to punch from nothing or without thinking about punching the person, just doing it. And it took me a while, right? But what happened when I did that was that I flipped the switch that said punch from nowhere, but I didn't know how to turn it off. Why? Because I wasn't worried about that. I was just worried about becoming faster. I wanted to be like Bruce Lee. So what happened was that I got myself in trouble a couple of times for punching people in the face. This was early on, very young. Okay, very young. So what I'm trying to say is, a young person, in my personal opinion, should only be meditating in standard version and should not be going to no retreats. They should be meditating for where they are. That way they'll calibrate to that situation that they're in. And number two, you should not be going into no deep meditation to where you're trying to become faster, become better athlete, or none of these things. These things are left for later on once you're more mature. Because if not, you're gonna do the same mistake I did, to where, like I said, I flicked on that switch, and then I was unable, to rein it back in. Your brain is very powerful, and unfortunately nowadays people, the media and the government and everything around us is trying to take that away from us. Oh, that's bullshit, guys. Don't even listen to that. But meanwhile, the government's doing experiments on it. The government has training tapes for their own people in the government to remote view, for them to do certain meditations that allow them to be faster, quicker, and all of these things. You know what I mean? So while they're telling you it's bullshit, and then telling you to go to these farms where they farm your power, and I'm not gonna talk about that right now, but and give them the power. That's when you start to realize, maybe it's not bullshit. If they're spending millions of dollars on this stuff, part of it is because, yeah, they got the money to spend it. But if you think about it, if the Soviet Union was looking into the power of the brain, okay, the Germans were looking into the power of the brain, and then you start looking at what the United States did with a lot of these people, and they brought the same programs over here with MK Ultra and remote viewing, which is a thing the government did as well. You start to realize maybe there's something here, and maybe them telling us that it's bullshit, and then anybody who tries to do things like this is weird. Um, Maybe it's not so weird. Maybe it works. Now, of course, a lot of people have been saying that meditation works and that brain, you know, working on your mentality, and there's even psychiatrists for athletes and stuff like that, right, is important and it works. But not everybody's telling you that meditation can be bad for you sometimes. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying be careful with meditation. Okay, if for whatever reason, like for example, when I was younger, and I'm not blaming my taekwondo teacher for anything, because nothing really happened um, because of that, because of him, or because anything he taught me. It's just myself. I explored it further than I had to at an early age. Okay, at a very early age, I was curious about, because here's how I found out about it. Okay, it was Bruce Lee. This isn't Bruce Lee, by the way. This is Sonny Shiba. But it was movies. Okay, and I was very much into Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee had an interview where he was talking about, and I don't know if it was a real interview or it was a reenacted interview. I forgot, to be honest. It was a very long time ago. And in that interview, he said that he wanted to do everything possible to become a better fighter. And then the lady said, some people said that you're even going to extremes, and I don't even know if it was a lady or an old man. I forgot. He says some people say that you even go to the extremes and do self hypnosis through meditation or something like that. And then he said, yes, of course, That is part of it too. And then she was saying that it was extreme and that it was bad, and I should have listened to her. Uh, and Bruce Lee was like, "Yes, whatever it takes, yes." And then when he said that, I was more inspired by that. So what happened is that because I didn't know meditation could even be used in the martial arts or was part of the martial arts. So you got to understand, I come from a Christian background, and in Christianity, meditation is just meditating in the Word of God, meaning you go into deep meditation into what the things that the Bible said are, and or you go into deep meditation into the glory of God and the vastness of His power and His being and stuff like that, right? Um, that's where I um, was taught meditation through mysticism, right? The Christian mysticism, and that's what how I knew it. I did not know that you could do it for sports. You could do it for all these other things, which it is true now. Now I know it's true, and that's when I discovered when I discovered the first time I discovered it outside was in Taekwondo. So before Taekwondo, I went to Mexico to visit my cousin, and we went to a class, and I participated in the class. And before every class, we would meditate, right? Or I forget if it was before or after. I don't remember. You guys, let me know how you guys did it. And they would meditate for about what, maybe 5 minutes or something like that, or maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I forgot. Um, and that's how we would end it, right? Or start it. I forgot. So to me, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's like a moment of silence or something like that, which is pretty cool after all that sparring and all that moving around and doing all that cardio. You kind of calm your mind, and that was fine, right? And you know, I told my parents about that, and they were like, "Oh no, that's evil or whatever." They believe that if you meditate and empty your mind the way Bruce Lee said, that a demon would enter your body and take over. That's what they believe. Now, of course, did I believe it? I mean, kind of. I was a kid, bro. I was like what, 9, 8 or 9. So at the time, I was like, I guess maybe they could be true. Um, but my point is, Bruce Lee's influence was a little bit more stronger, and so I went out and did it on my own. I um yeah, I just did it on my own. I figured out how to do it on my own, and I meditated, and I tried to become faster. I would close my eyes in front of like a sheet of paper. I would hang it up or tape it to next to a door. I would concentrate, and then from nothing just punch. Now, at first, I tried to empty my mind. I realized that it wasn't possible, so I tried to think of different things that had nothing to do with punching or fighting. And one of the best ones was picturing a red convertible car or a Ferrari or Lamborghini, whatever, and just look at it. Think about the color, think about whatever, anything different that wasn't had nothing to do with fighting, and then all of a sudden from there just punch. Right? And I would do that repeatedly over and over and over and over and over again until finally I felt like I was faster. I just felt faster, right? And I was able to punch without even thinking about it, just from nothing. Boom, bah, boom, just immediately punch. That's actually how I developed my flick jab. It wasn't from Tommy Hearns. It was from watching Bruce Lee and wanting to be as fast as him with his punches. Um, but anyways, um, so after I did that, it did like I said, I did flip that switch in my brain that allowed me to be faster, to punch from nothing, to be quick. All right, and but the thing about it was that it was hard to turn that off. It was hard to turn it off, and it made me a bit unpredictable and a bit I mean, I'm just violent. I was like a little cat. You see little cats, they're just standing there and they're with their friends, their little kitty friends, and then all of a sudden they just smack the shit out of their friend for no reason. You know, And so I was like, yeah, it's not good. Something's going on here. I started to be scared. I was like, maybe what my parents said is good. I mean, what my parents said was true. Um, we have like a speed demon inside of me or something. But I know now that that wasn't the case. It's just like I said, I turned the switch on, and I did not know how to turn it off. Okay, that's basically what it was. Um, I don't know what she's talking about. But anyways, but what I'm trying to say is be careful, guys. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's like everything else. You know, there's some good aspects to it. There's some good things you can get out of it, but you gotta know what you're doing. Number one, number two, you gotta know that there for every good there is a opposite, more darker, bad part. You know, and you got to um, calibrate correctly. Like you just gotta know what you're doing, basically. You know, everything is like that. Everything has good things in it. You know, good qualities. But if you overdo it, it's like when you're gonna exercise. You know, as I made the example earlier, you can't over exercise because you'll hurt yourself. You'll hurt that muscle. Everything has to be in balance. You know, so it's like I said, it's like every other exercise. You don't want to overdo it. You're not gonna work out the same muscle every day, every day. You know, and there's some people that do that. Some people meditate every day. You know, but like I said, you gotta know what you're doing. It's like a whole new world meditation that opens up a whole new um, system of working out. And I feel like most people are just, you know, doing it like irresponsibly, and they're like, oh yes, let's do this, let's do that. You know, now let's get high. You know, now let's try this drug, let's try that drug. And people think that that's these kind of things are going to make the world a better place. And let me remind you that we've done this before. You know, this is nothing new. These meditation rituals ain't nothing new. You know, and things like that. Drugs that open up the same kind of, you know, portals in our brains. You know, it's not new. And then why isn't the world a better place? You know, I mean, it is kind of, but there's still violence. There's still people dying. There's still people, you know, doing crazy shit out there. So we're just now starting to map this new realm, and I feel like people are still being irresponsible with it. But anyways, that is my opinion, guys. Please let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.